All right, so it's 2:05 on Monday, March 29th. I had to think about what month we were still in. And I'll call the meeting to order. And this is a special council meeting to discuss the Kerwood Park and the renovations we're planning on doing this summer. And we have some updated plans and everything else from Spritz. And I understand that, Morgan, you're going to take us through a little presentation and then look at the new plans. And then we'll have some time for questions or comments from council members. And hopefully we'll have that motion from council to move forward with this project so we can get the tenders out and get some shovels in the ground and an old pavilion knocked down. So I'll hand it over to Morgan to go through your presentation.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to council, we just have a bit of an agenda to go through, basically to rehash what we already know and to discuss what changes we've made since the last meeting. So as you know, we're here to improve the Kerwood Park through a new facility or community space. We want to improve accessibility throughout the park. We are looking to construct accessible washrooms, refresh existing amenities, and encourage new park-related activities. The project's approach, really we're looking at, per council direction, a phased-in over 2-year approach. This really ensures that the park is still usable for outdoor activities as much as it can be during construction in the first phase, given that we're still faced with a pandemic and it's nice to get outdoors and leverage that community space. We're also positioning for potential additional funding opportunities to help basically grow or improve the park through phase 2 opportunity. So really what phase 1 looks like and what we're here to do today is we're here to finalize the facility, including any work related to the pavilions. So as I say, that's really the scope of today's meeting. And then phase 2, which will be run in parallel with the construction, we'll be looking at the ball diamonds, dugouts, lighting, bleachers, the parking lot, aesthetics and landscaping. So council will see some more information at a future meeting. So with regard to the park layout, council is aware of this site plan. Essentially, this is Kerwood Road along here. Our original parking lot, the top left of the drawing. We have one of our 2 baseball diamonds top right and our main baseball diamond down the middle here, with the facility to be proposed just parallel to the existing pavilion. So in saying that, this is just a bit of a close-up look of the facility space where we have the 2 pavilions still, and the park equipment or the playground equipment is down here. And then the parking lot is just above to the north of the building. So when we last spoke, this was the drawing that we pretty much landed on. This was at the March 8th meeting. We heard from council that we wanted to flip the kitchen around, make some minor adjustments, which ended up resulting in a few changes. So before I get to the next drawing, we revised the version 2 of the drawing to include a kitchen, which is the opposite side of the facility where originally was proposed. And this is for easier access from the parking lot for loading and unloading of items. The kitchen, we also heard from council that we wanted to expand the first window, but also provide a side window. So there's 2 convenience windows or snack bar windows that go into the kitchen. And of course, the kitchen still has a sink, space for a fridge, and the counter cabinets. Of course, we have 2 accessible washrooms, and there's a pretty good size space for any park equipment or additional storage space to be utilized in the future. So the result is this. I'm not sure, it's a pretty small drawing. So once we get into maybe Shanna's feedback with regard to the drawings, I could pull up the bigger versions of the drawings and zoom in and out. But really, this drawing just shows that we flipped the mechanical room with the kitchen. It's made the storage space a little bit smaller, but again, we have that park access for easy loading and unloading. Here's that second window that has been added, and that one's facing the parking lot. And there's another window here that's facing the ball diamond that's been extended. The fridge in the corner, and then a sink and some cabinets in the back. The mechanical room will have all of the electronics or electrical service or requirements provision there. This will be used for the ball diamond lighting, the pavilion lighting, and some switching. Shanna, at this time, maybe it might be a good idea. Would you like to highlight anything with regard to the drawings or the site plan that it might not have otherwise covered?
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to send you an updated site plan, but we will include the features like the accessible sidewalk, the pavilion added onto the side as well, and increased just past the extent of the existing
25 feet.
concrete apron I think you have there right now. I don't think it's going to be exactly the same size as what you have now, but we're going to try and get it as large as what we can, just to keep it the same width as this existing building.
Okay, I guess I'll pause there for a sec, Mr. Mayor, if there's any questions from council or yourself.
Hey, is there any questions so far from members of council? Councilor Brody?
So they don't have the second pavilion picture drawing finished then?
So the Spritz does have the drawing. Actually, I can pull that up right now. So here's the one snack bar window that's facing the park, and here's the pavilion that's attached.
Martin, where's the parking lot?
So the parking lot's up over here, just north of this drawing.
Okay, so the kitchen is closer to the parking area for offloading. Okay, that's good.
Now, I can't read how many feet that is. Like, is that going to get into the fence of the ball diamond?
No, it's going right to the edge. There's an existing concrete pad on the site right now.
Okay,
45 feet.
It's pretty much ending where your existing pavilion was.
all right. Just hard to tell with that.
But it's not quite as big as your old pavilion was, because we don't want to make it wider than the new building, so to be an awkward shaped roof.
Okay, and then another question then, the concrete that's underneath the pavilion that's going to be attached to the building, is there still going to be the concrete between the new attached pavilion to the current pavilion that's there, that's going to be left there?
I'm just going to bring up a
We'd suggest taking it up and putting a new pad down, because I think it was in rough shape. There was some cracking and heaving.
Okay. Because I think that's one feature that we don't want to lose is, you know, that connection of the concrete between the two pavilions.
We can leave that.
That can stay, but where underneath the existing pavilion, we put a new pad in.
Okay, yep, that all
So
makes
I
sense.
think just to the right there, it's paved of the pavilion, the existing pavilion, and that's how far we're going.
Okay, looks like everybody understands that. Okay, is there any other questions at all on the drawing so far? Doesn't look like it, okay.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Shauna. So with regard to the electrical, this is why we have Mr. Hillis here. So really, as part of the project, with the pavilion that's going to be remaining, we have to do a little bit of upgrading to the electrical outlets. They're not ground fault, so we just want to resolve some safety issues here. Brian, I see you nodding your head, so if you have anything to add, just jump in anytime. We do have a little bit of electrical work to be done in the barn as well. There's a breaker that needs to be changed. It's not that big of a job.
Yeah.
We do have automated lighting within the facility. Switches to manage the pavilion lighting or the electrical outlets on the outside. These will be, again, located in the mechanical room. And we do have facility lighting that will turn on from dusk until dawn around the washroom facility itself. Within phase two, we are leaving the primary electrical service in the barn for now to be potentially moved as part of phase two once we determine really what to do with the barn. So Brian, anything that you'd like to add at this time?
No, that's,
Morgan, I have a question.
Yep.
When you're talking about automated lighting within the facility, would that include the washrooms as well?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
I think the only thing, Brian, I forgot to mention is the lighting within the pavilion that's going to stay. We're looking to upgrade that lighting so that it matches the new pavilion, so that we have consistent lighting between both pavilions.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
And
think
then,
we'll-
Morgan, just a question I have with the electrical then. So with, say, the lighting on the baseball diamonds, are we also going to have it so then it can be like timed to be on and off if somebody rents the ball diamonds, weekly or whatever it is, that we can have that so it's just scheduled that the lights would come on every Tuesday night or whatever and turn off at a certain time? Or do we need to have somebody go into that mechanical room to turn it on and off?
So Mr. Mayor, maybe I can ask Brian to speak to general or best practices when it comes to baseball diamond lighting. Brian, are you okay with that?
yeah. Well, usually it's manually controlled and you turn it on when you need it. People would have to get access, well, however you do it now, I'm not sure how you control the lighting on the diamonds at this time. I assume it's manually.
Brian, are there any facilities that you are aware of that where the lighting control is done? Like I have a place where I control the heat and the lights from my phone. So
Right.
are you aware of any public spaces that are done that way?
Not public spaces, no. No, we are thinking of the users of the ball diamond would have some the appropriate app on their phone and could turn the lights on and off.
Oh, okay, so we wouldn't have to worry
Typically,
about.
the owner would rather have more control over the lighting, I would think. I'm not sure how you run the facility. It really is up to that because people have to access the inside of the barn now to turn the lights on and off. And whether that's open or if you have, that means you have to have staff there. Yeah, I'm not sure how you run it or how
I guess,
you.
Brian, I guess the question could be, is there equipment out there that, because the park will be pretty close to an internet connection, if not connected to the internet. Is there equipment out there that we could use to control the diamond lighting and maybe even facility lighting through an automated system?
Yeah, well, there's automated both on a predetermined schedule. There could be a switch. There could be a wireless control as well, where you have the appropriate app on a smartphone, and then it gives you control of the lighting if you wanted to do it that way.
Okay, and then I guess my question would be, when we go to do the lighting as part of phase two, that likely would be the best time to implement this automation.
Yeah, I think that would be the time to discuss how you want to do that. And I don't think whatever decision you make at that time, there's nothing that's going to affect what we're doing now.
Okay. Councilor Clark, does that help answer your question?
Yeah, because it can be added after. And to your point, I mean, the internet is coming to Kerwood, so that it could be an add-on later. So yeah, as long as the basics there, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, if you wanted some sort of automated or remote control of your ball diamond lighting, that could be incorporated at any time.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Brian.
Okay.
Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Brody, did you have your hand up?
Just a comment that we can look at later, but really right now, the only time the front diamond is used, the lights is not that many nights. So, I mean, I guess we can discuss that later is all I was gonna bring up.
Okay. Morgan?
Okay, thank you. Brian, anything else to add? Are we good there?
I don't think so. We want to make a few repairs as you suggested or said in the barn. We'll do that. If there's any questions on the layout of the washroom building, as you said, the lighting's all controlled automatically. Pretty standard. We've put some outdoor receptacles in the pavilions for public use, and they're controlled off a manual switch. So that in the mechanical room with a pilot light. So the pilot light will be on red whenever the receptacles are energized. But that again would be some staff member that would have to go in and turn them on and off as deemed appropriate, or turn them on and off seasonally, however you choose to run it. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, if there's not any more questions, I guess I can continue on.
Deputy Mayor Hendricks has her hand up. What's going on here? There you go.
Okay, yeah, there we go. I guess I just wanted to make sure that the amount of power you put in the outdoor plugs would be enough, like that they wouldn't blow if you put in 2 coffee pots or something like that, I guess.
No, you could put, I've got 4 receptacles in each pavilion, and each one is run off a 20 amp circuit. So that would give you enough for, say, 3 coffee pots.
Yep.
A kettle, that sort of thing. Just countertop type equipment.
Yep, that's good.
Perfect. All right, is there any other questions about the electrical for the site here? Doesn't look like it.
Okay, so with regard to next steps, what we're really looking to do is finalize and issue the tender for construction. While we're doing that, because our process has been picked up halfway through the project, we're really looking to undertake a form of site plan process. This just ensures things like setbacks or other bylaw related matters are considered, just to ensure accountability and transparency with the public. And of course, we want to look at things like emergency or fire plans, make sure that they're considered. The big question that we still have yet to be able to answer, and I was hoping to be able to bring it to council's attention today, is really what shape is that barn. So we really need to look at that barn, do some form of a study to understand any exposures or whether this thing's an asset or any costs related to bringing it up to speed for its intended use. So we'll have to do that as part of our phase 2 planning. And then really we just start phase 2 planning, which we lead to construction of phase 2 in the spring of 2022. And we'll be considering things at that time, much like I said earlier, but we'll be looking at the ball diamonds, the dugouts, the lighting, the bleachers, the parking lot, aesthetics, and any landscaping. And of course, that'll be presented to council at a future meeting. With regard to this meeting, we're really looking for council's approval for the amended Kerwood Park facility engineered drawings as presented by Spreetz, and that staff be directed to proceed with tendering the project as a phased-in approach in 2021 and 2022 as approved by council. And before we get there, any questions, discussion, or otherwise?
Is there any other questions or comments from council? Okay, doesn't look like it. The only thing, I guess I should have asked it for during the electrical questions, we have the funds for an AED. Do we have that lined up in the plans as to where that's going to go?
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor, good question. The AED could really be plugged into or installed anywhere on the facility because it doesn't have electrical requirements. So we can plug it in after the fact once the facility has been constructed.
Okay, so should we have like a specific spot for it? Say if it's on the building somewhere, just thinking about it from, running, I'm assuming it has to be plugged in somewhere. So we only have a limited number of spots. Yeah,
the Middlesex On Paramedic Service is still offering their AED program. And what I would do is probably have one of their AED program coordinators come out, look at the facility and identify the best spot for that AED. It likely would be in between the two washrooms where the bottle fill and water station is.
Perfect. All righty. Is there any other questions at all? And I was just wondering, the Optimist, did they have a chance to take a look at this? I know we have a couple Optimist members on council as well, so I don't know if they can answer the question or if Morgan has the answer for it, just because they're one of the primary users of the space.
So maybe I'll ask Councillor Hendricks to speak to that real quick.
Yeah, it came up at the meeting, but I, other than worrying about the sign that's on the pavilion that's coming down, no, I think they were quite happy. I didn't hear anything other than when's it going to happen, and they're more concerned about what we can do in the park. But now that we're going to Red tomorrow, everything may be shoved back. So I don't even know if they're going to run this. They're going to try and run the soccer program, but I don't think the ball tournament's going to happen this year. So they're just going to wait for this to happen.
Okay. And then from the fire department's standpoint with your fish fry, Chief Nordoff, any comments from your crew over there as to the layout or anything, or is everything seems to be positive?
No, I think it's positive. The only, they haven't seen the actual drawings because that just came out like the recent ones this afternoon. So the only question I have is the size of that new pavilion. It's going to be smaller, but we'll just have to work with that. We have a tent. So, but other than that, no, I think we'll be happy. And as far as cooking from here on in, we may have to come up with a different solution there.
Yeah. And also with the fish fry and thinking about that, the serving area was under the current pavilion there. So you're going to have, that is going to be now in the kitchen area, canteen area. So there'll be, the serving area won't be underneath that pavilion. So as much as there'll be less space, it's kind of, pushing it into that building itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Brody?
Yeah, just a comment about the tent part. Maybe once it's all up, we'll be able to see, how much room really is in between, and maybe the tent we have or the firemen have fits in there. Maybe that's something that the Optimist maybe could have if we had to make a tent proper size that fits in between for special occasion events, maybe that's something to look at.
Okay. So is there any other questions at all? No. So the recommendation there, and that's to approve the amended Kerwood Park Facilities engineered drawings as presented by Streets Engineering, and that staff be directed to proceed with tendering the project as a phase and approach in 2021 and 2022 as approved by council on December 21st, 2020. Okay, so we got Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. Is there any further discussion at all? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And that's carried. All right, so Morgan, are we looking for anything else or just a motion to adjourn?
Well, that's perfect, Mr. Mayor. Just a motion to adjourn. And if you can wait for another 3 more minutes, that was my prediction, was a 33-minute meeting, but it's up to you.
No, that's okay. And realistically, we started at 2:05, so we'd be waiting another 8 minutes. So we're not going to do that. We'll have a motion to adjourn. Moved by Deputy Hendricks and seconded by Councillor Brody. All those in favor?